Hey guys, so today we're here in Hollywood at Joe's place and we're gonna do some work to his RX8. He's currently working on replacing a few arms on the rear end because somebody hit his car while it was parked out in the street right here. So as he fixes that, I'm just filming this intro, but the first video we're gonna film today is how to install aero pieces. It's really not that hard, and if you guys learn how to do it and have the confidence to do it, it could save you a pretty penny in the long run. So if you guys are familiar with the YouTube videos for RX8s on YouTube, you must know this car because it's one of the most popular YouTube videos for RX8s now as far as drifting goes. So I'm really proud of that, and that video was taken in the beginning of my channel, and since then I've had a lot of growth, 2 new sponsors and lots of new subs and lots of new followers on my social media. And here's Joe, the one that was part of that video. What's up, bro? Say hi to the camera.
What's going on, everybody?
Let's get right into the aerodynamic part install. All right, guys, so we're starting off now, and what Joe's doing is drilling out the rivets that he had on his old body kit, and that makes the rivets like break off and release. So we're starting off with that. Then we're gonna mock up the replacement side skirt that he has, and we're gonna rivet that one into place. Of course, if you guys don't originally have rivets holding a body kit on, then you have to dismount your OEM parts a different way. That may take longer, but I'll let you guys figure out how to do that because it shouldn't be too hard, and I bet there's lots of videos of that. Yeah, so he already had a lot of drifting damage before that happened, but yeah, so anyway, he got a whole new complete kit, and unfortunately they didn't have the one he wanted anymore, so he bought a different model, which is fiberglass. This one that just came off is rubber, which is a lot better, but this one wasn't available anymore, and he has to do something different. He has to run something different this time. Okay, so that's unfortunate, but we'll continue in a moment.
But it's still not there.
So the new skirt is being mocked up now, and
I have to make a cut.
But it doesn't fit perfect. This is the Extreme Dimensions Vader kit.
It might be designed to fit with the front fender on the Vader kit.
Oh, okay, so Joe's saying that
Possibly.
It's probably designed to be run with the full Vader kit, like the front fender and all that. So you have all that, right? You bought all that?
Not the front fender, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we'll see how this looks and how it fits. But for now, we're mocking it up, and then I'll show you what happens once you have it mocked up in place. So this is still the mock-up. You just want to see what it looks like with the doors holding it. Let me get you guys another angle.
It's not just that my fender's sort of bent, it's the fact that the body kit's really not made for it. So what I'm gonna do is pull this back out, and I'm gonna actually make a cut here so that I can fit it in. The rest of it here will be held on with zip ties, and I'll only apply a few rivets along the door panel, mainly so that it can flex. Zip ties allow it to kind of flap and flex. If it's too rigid, as soon as something happens, even going over the smallest bump or sometimes even the wind will catch underneath it, and you'll end up breaking these cheap pieces of fiberglass. So this is kind of a downgrade from my last piece, which was plastic, but it is what it is.
So anytime you buy a cheaper body kit like this, you might have to do customization to make it work. This is what happened in this case, but let's see what we can do. There you go. That fits much better.
Now, as you see, we're a little more flush. Much better.
So now Joe's trimming the rear, but trying to do as little as possible so that it stays as strong as possible. Now it's the moment of truth.
I don't really want to cut any more than that, because once we push this towards it, I zip tie this back piece, I think we're going to be about flush. We're going to start by mounting it with rivets from the door panel here, and then work our way out to zip ties on the corner where it'll flex more.
Let's do it. Give it a rivet lesson, bro.
Well, we're going to drill a hole first, and then we're going to rivet lesson.
If you guys want to follow Joe on Instagram, here it is, Drift Dreamer. I think his actual Instagram is Drift Dreamers with the S, like plural. But yeah, last time I posted a video about this car, everyone loved it, so go give him a follow if you're interested in seeing more of what he does.
This tape might not work for what we're trying to do, but it might also work for what we're trying to do, so we'll find out. So make sure that you're matching your drill bit size to your rivet size. Here we're using 3/16, which is a standard rivet size. So make sure you've got the same size for your hole that you're drilling. Fiberglass you gotta be a little more careful with. There's a good chance I'll crack it and ruin it. You want to get as flat to the metal as possible and then hold it down, because you're gonna have to go through the metal as well as the fiberglass. So you're naturally gonna end up drilling a bigger hole through your fiberglass than you are through your metal. So you just gotta take it easy there. There it is, it popped through. You gotta really stay still. Looks like we got a hole there. That might have already been a previous hole because of the way it went through so quickly. So if that is a previous hole, we got lucky. This is how you're gonna load your rivet gun, one-handed. This end, the skinny end of your rivet, will go into the end of your gun here. Now also note that these have different sizes here. If you see 1, 2, 3 different sizes. Now you feed it in there by moving the handle backwards, and it'll drop in place. Now, try to push and flush as you can, and you'll feel it push through the metal and through the fiberglass. Heard that noise? That means it's sunk in there now. So in order to start making the rivet stick, we're going to squeeze the handle. Bring it back up, and we're going to crank it kind of gently, because if you flex this, you will break it and pop and break your fiberglass, because it's going to give you a nice pop once you actually break the rivet. So essentially what's happening here is this piece is inserted into the gun, and then it's pulling this piece of metal out and forward out of it, then smushing this down behind the other piece of metal.
Like an anchor, right?
Creating an anchor. It's pulling it up and smushing this into it. So we have a nice flat piece, and the piece that's left over you're about to see. Keep this flush like I said, and there you go. You heard it pop. We didn't mess up our fiberglass. To take the excess piece out, you work the handle, and it should fall right out. You can see it coming out right there. You can pull it out. And this is what's left over. This is your residual. So this is inserted into the hole, and what ends up happening is it smushes this back to make it seal, and then pops this right on out.
It's getting a little darker out here, so it's time to run it with the flash. He's just going to repeat that process he showed you. So first, carefully drilling into it with a 3/16 drill bit, which is standard for rivets, and then applying a rivet how we showed you guys. So here goes the front end mock-up for the zip tie drilling.
You can see there's always going to be a little flex somewhere in what we're doing. Here it looks like it's going to end up bending a little bit if we try to zip tie it. That's going to be about as close as we're going to get once it's in there. Hopefully the body will match up pretty well. to see how this lines up. It might not be great, but...
So the hole's been drilled in the side skirt and the fender now, so it's time to put the zip tie through it and see how well it can be fastened up.
No, it's there.
Alright, so that's been fastened. Now let's go do the back. So here goes the rear part of the side skirts mock-up.
I might actually try to use the hole we already have there. Just so I don't have to keep drilling extra unnecessary holes in the body.
Well, I mean, the zip tie is so flexible, that should be fine.
Later, you can also wrap this with a 3M wrap if you want. It'll match your body of your car or whatever you want to do. So we're gonna next mock up this and get this lined up. Try to use the same holes if we can. I've replaced these before, so the holes are getting a little warped, but this should still work. Sometimes we'll have indicators on body kits that help us. With this, we have 2 lips that fit on the inside corners here. We kind of push up from there and push it into place. Lining it up with the same hole, we're really only going to be drilling through the actual fiberglass this time. So make sure that you're not going too hard. That's it. So we're going to get this wiggled in there. In the past, when I've put these on, I've scraped up the fenders a good deal with the rivet guns, so do be careful. Make sure you push it flush. And there it is. We didn't scrape our fender. This one's actually going on pretty flush. As I recall, the side with the gas tank is harder because the way they molded it.
So Joe's saying he's doing 1 by 1 because if you rush and do more of them at a time, it could potentially
not fit.
Yeah, it could potentially not fit.
You want to make sure that you're working from the inside out to keep everything flush. I may have actually drilled a fresh hole on that one. With something like this, you can see the way this flexes, right? You would think, let's put a rivet here. But with the way it doesn't match completely perfectly with the body of the vehicle, whether it's been hit or whether it's just, you know, molding issues, we're gonna use a zip tie right there. I think it's gonna be a smarter option. I already have a hole prepared right there from before. Rather than using another rigid piece, a zip tie I think is best, just for some flexibility in it. But it's just so expensive.
So Joe already has front fenders that are damaged, but they're not as damaged as these were, so he's gonna keep running those. Yeah, so today we're gonna install new side skirts, fenders, duckbill spoiler on there, and a lip for the front end.
Notice how I have it up away from the car, where we have as much room as we can so we don't end up hitting the car or breaking this, because these are really actually pretty delicate. See, I kind of stuttered and hit that there. That's what ends up happening. You gotta be careful.
Yeah, be really careful if you really care about your car.
Scratch your paint, yeah.
Now that the wider fenders are on the back, Joe's gonna throw on these super wide bolt-on hub-centric wheel spacers. All right, Now the wheel's on and we're gonna lower it to see how the fitment looks now. And the fitment is much better than it was before.
You want to leave some space because these things will get destroyed the first thing they hit. So you feel right here, I've got like a finger width. If I go over a bump and this tire pushes this in, it will just rip this right off your body of your car. So you can't go cool guy with it unless you plan on making more modifications. Sometimes I also cut the inside piece here. There's an inside fender kind of like panel here that you can cut out to kind of give you a little bit more clearance.
So now we've completed this side. I think we're gonna do it the wing. So first off, we have to remove the stock wing.
You could take a screwdriver and try to undo it. Just do this. I don't plan on replacing this.
Yeah, so if you don't care about your interior, you can just rip it out. Or if you want to be careful, make sure you study it and take your time with it. That's up to you. So make sure you take all of the necessary bolts off if you're taking off an extra wing that came with it or you had on it. Then from there you can mock up your next one. There's many ways to install a wing depending on what it is, but this one is a duckbill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one's a duckbill, so it's going to be installed with rivets.
It looks like my trunk's not strapped on. Just look at that. Well, the wing is off. I've never seen this car wingless. Check it out.
Wingless is cool.
Not bad.
Yeah, wingless is super sick. Let's see how it looks. Oh, it looks really nice.
I almost want to go without it.
Let's throw on the duckbill now. What you got there?
Another piece of fiberglass. This seems to fit pretty nice, actually.
Look at that. The wing looks so good from here with the rest of the aero. All right, so to mock it up, Joe's gonna put it in place. Then I'm gonna hold it in place. Hopefully I do a good job. And he's gonna drill into it and put the rivet through it. And that'll hold it in place more or less. And then we'll go outwards and finish the install of those rivets on this thing. All right, hopefully that's fine.
So this is just our starting point. We're starting in the middle, try to mock it up and work our way out. All right, so because the last time I did this, I worked my way from the center out, ended up having slack on the end. I want to actually double, triple check that this is really fitting where I want it to fit on the end first. And then I'll probably slide these in next. Maybe just one and leave actually one out for some flexibility, and this should be fine. Whenever you're drilling into it, make sure it's as flush as it can possibly be.
All right, so real quick, I've seen that my demographic is very distributed, so if you guys are down real quick, just comment below what country you're watching this from. Now that Joe put that one in, we have the center and both sides done. He's gonna work his way inward with one more rivet on each side.
You don't have to drill a hole in every single one unless you're going for style points here, because you're just drilling holes in your car at that point. This is a flimsy piece of fiberglass. It doesn't require every single rivet to hold it on. All right, it's not going anywhere. I'm gonna put one here, and then we'll probably only work 2 on the bottom, maybe 3 at most, just so we're not drilling a million holes into the trunk for no reason. Sometimes you really have to force that rivet to get into there.
All right, just one more on the top, and a couple on the bottom, and the wing will be all done.
You know, you can make your car look so cool in just a few minutes. Okay, now we can see in the back, we want this to line up proper. We're gonna have to push this up against the actual trunk of the car here. Looks like I might only put these 2. Should be enough to hold it. Unless you want every single seam perfectly matched. We're talking fiberglass that's molded in all the way from China, heat warped and everything else. You're never gonna get a perfect match with it.
All right, so at the end of it, Joe ended up leaving 2 on top missing and then on the bottom. He only put 2 of them. And it's not perfectly flush because they're not all in there, but it looks clean enough. And if anyone ever gives him a tap from behind while drifting,
It flicks a little bit.
it's more likely to flex
And
and
snap into pieces.
yeah, it most likely will not snap into pieces that way. So if you plan to actually use your car for drifting and not caring about it, it's definitely a good method to consider. All right, so to install the lip on the bumper, we're gonna remove the 4 bolts that hold it in place, and then take it to the garage to mock it up, drill the holes, and rivet it in, as well as zip tie it. Then we'll throw it on complete, and we'll go get you guys a look of what it looks like now. And there's more people with road rage over there. Look at all this traffic. Here's how it's been all day. Crazy. All right, bumper's ready to come off. Hopefully.
This is gonna require some flexing. You can see, like, look how warped this piece of plastic is. Look at the twist on the end. This is nothing like the shape of the vehicle. So what we're gonna have to do is like mop it up and then leave each zip tie loose until it's completely in place, and zip tie as you go along trying to fit it into place.
Okay, so that side's been drilled and slightly zip tied, and now there's issues making it fit here because, like we've mentioned, these are cheap parts.
See if we can match them up.
Yeah, so we're just gonna try to force it in place and see how well we can mock it up right now. If you guys buy better quality, you should not encounter such things like this. All right, so that's starting to go into place a little bit. That loop you guys saw him do right here, he's gonna do the same thing on that side, and then just put the rivet on the face on each side, and then we'll be all done with the body kit install for today. All right, so those 4 zip ties are in place. This one, that one, that one, and that one. And now it's time to turn it over and throw those rivets in. You guys know how to do this by now? All right, so it's time for Joe to drill the last hole of the day. It's gonna be on that side, and it's gonna be mirrored to this.
Here we go, look at that, bam!
Bumper's all ready.
That's a lip, and that's a wrap.
So now we're back here, and we're gonna put those bolts back on and the 2 zip ties that hold it, and this thing will be ready to go. So we're just about done. Let me get you guys a better view of it. All right guys, so this is how it looks in its final form. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned how to do it for yourselves. It really isn't that hard, and it could have a huge difference in the aesthetic of it. How much do you think it costs to install the body kit?
To about $1,000, maybe $800 if you're lucky.
All right,
If you want to fully kit your car.
for sure. I see. So there it is, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time.